Hello, this handsome Swede is the brand new Volvo XC90. It's packed with new technology and has some very clever engines. There's a lot to talk about here. Let's get started. Prices for the range start at 804,000 Rand, but that is for the front-wheel drive D4, which only arrives later this year. In the meantime, you can choose between a bunch of all-wheel drive models, and I think in a car this size, you really want all-wheel drive. My pick of the range is the D5 Inscription, which happens to be this one. All of the Volvo XC90s will be powered by 2-liter engines. Both petrol and diesel will be available, and they're all covered by this weird soft thing. Anyway, this is the engine that you want. It's the D5 turbo diesel with 165 kilowatts and 470 Newton meters. Now that's more than enough power to hustle this big car around town. But what's more impressive is its fuel economy. I've been seeing less than 9 to the 100, and a colleague of mine achieved 6.9 liters to the 100 on a normal drive. Now that is remarkable. It's the sort of figure that you'd expect from a hatchback. As impressive as the engines are, the interior is even better. The whole dashboard is dominated by this iPad-sized touchscreen, and I really think this is one of the best examples of a car infotainment system that I've ever come across. It's just so intuitive and easy to use, and every time you move something around the menu, the other options simply squash. They don't disappear, so they're always very easy to find. The navigation, for instance, supports pinch zoom like a smartphone. It's really very clever. All of the car settings you might need are just a swipe away to the left. You can turn off traction control or activate the park assist. This particular model will park itself automatically. Now, of course, the car will connect to your cell phone, and if you have an Apple device, CarPlay will come up, and the same will happen for Android. And it does a number of useful things. Shows you how low your cell phone battery is so that you know whether to plug it in or not. But if you get an SMS or an email while driving, you just swipe right to your messages center and you can ask the car to read it out.
So hey guys, don't trade in your auto with anyone other than Cars.co.za. Boom.
Like the lady said. But that is just the first row of seats. There are 2 more to go in this vast interior. Now, the second row is where your kids or whoever will be spending most of their time, and it is really comfortable. There's this cool little armrest, which provides some drinks holders in the middle, and every seat is just really easy to operate. If I flick this handle over here, it's flat, just like that. Didn't even have to touch it. And if I want to let someone into the third row of seats, it's a second handle. The seat folds up and slides forward, easily accessing the third row. Now, each of these 3 seats slides forward independently on its own rails, so you can create more legroom for the third row of passengers, or you can create more boot space. Now, Volvo says that those rear seats are the biggest in its segment, seating adults up to 170 centimeters tall. I'm 171 centimeters, so I'm a pretty good test of this. Right, the ultimate test, legroom, here we go. Oh, look at that, comfy. Now, the third row of passengers are very well catered for. I've got a drinks holder back here, I have my own aircon, and Volvo haven't skimped at all. There's actually an entirely different aircon unit for the back seats. Importantly, the airbags stretch all the way along to cover the third row of seats as well, and they leave quite a bit of boot space. That's impressive. Now, when it comes to boot space, Volvo have been quite clever. They've chosen a very specific suspension system to ensure that the boot area is as low and as wide as possible. And they've actually managed to include a little Mari biscuit spare in there as well. Now, with the third row of seats up, the boot space is pretty generous, but fold these down, the space is just enormous, and that's going to be your day-to-day space. Fold down the second row of seats and the load space is over 2 meters long. It's like a double bed almost. There are some clever touches. I really like this little flap. That's for your shopping, so you can stand bottles up in there. And then there are 2 of these shopping bag hooks on the side which hold up to 5 kilograms. And then to top it all off, an electric tailgate is standard. So the Volvo XC90, probably the most exciting product from this company in a generation. So exciting, in fact, that they sold the entire first edition production run online. It is a proper spacious 7-seater, but that's becoming more common these days. You can buy a BMW X5 with 7 seats. You'll just have to pay extra for those. The Land Rover Discovery, however, offers very similar interior space and comfort to the XC90. It's a bit pricier, but it has incredible off-road ability. The downside to having that off-road ability is that the Volvo is much nicer to drive on-road than the Discovery. However, the downside to that is that in offering sharper handling, the XC90 has lost some of that traditional Volvo comfiness. I think the closest competitor to the XC90 is the upcoming Audi Q7. It's about to replace the Q7 that we have in South Africa right now, so don't buy one just yet. It will also be available in a hybrid, and it's going to have that superb infotainment system from the Audi TT. But there is an intangible feeling when driving the Volvo. There's something very reassuring about being inside this car, and it is properly comfortable. But without a doubt, its most impressive achievement is that engine with that fuel consumption. In this segment, I think that is going to be very hard to beat.